Welcome everybody to the Dokkan Battle Data Dome powered by 59 Gaming. I'm Toon Rami and joined with me today is Vilify. What's up, Vilify? Today we've got something very interesting to present with you guys, and it's actually been a month in the making. What we've done is over the past 30 days, our very own Taister Daisetsu has taken the time to do some careful data entry on every single day for every single participant's Dokkan account power level. And we're going to be talking about the results of these 30 days in today's video. And let's just jump in. Let's take a look at the field for today. We got some heavy hitters and we got some casuals in here. What's great about this field here is we've got a bunch of JP players, we got a bunch of global players, and it just spans the entirety of the power level field. We go all the way as high as 4.7 million, as I said, all the way down to 280,000. It's just it's kind of just like a microcosm of the entire Dokkan Battle player base, right?
Yeah, and you say the casual level of 280,000, and I get friend requests sometimes from people who are like level 700, who are even lower than that. So it gets more casual than this. I'd say this is a pretty dedicated group of players here, even at 280,000. So it's definitely exciting to see what we're going to be looking at today with all these power levels.
Let's take a look at the power level rankings. At the top is DeTruth at number 1 with 5.19 million power level. Number 2, we've got Nolar with 4.5 million. Then we got Goresh on the global side with 2.9 million. Toon with 2.8 million on global. And then as we work our way down, we see, you know, some of the more casual players amongst the group, like Sunblade with just under 1 million. We got Gale Riot with 500,000.
Yeah, I do like how when you were listing the list of the players with the different ranks here, you started, when you got to yourself, you cut off Masked Ningen. I thought you were going to mention him as a casual player with his 2.2 million.
I wasn't going to do that, man.
I thought you had a wisecrack going right here. Yeah, no Masked Ningen slander around here, but I think one thing worth noting is that, like you said, we've got someone as high as Truth that, like, you know, with this thing, you said, what was it, like 4.9 million, something like that. You had a very high number, and then lower here with Tystra, you've got 280,000. It goes to show you that even within the very dedicated group like 59 Gaming, we still have some casual players. So it's not something you don't have to be the most dedicated Dokkan player to even cover the game in the first place. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could be a whale who spends a lot of money on the game, but just doesn't participate in the link leveling activities or just plays a lot of the in-game content. There's just so many different types of players. And I mean, whether you can call it a fortunate thing or unfortunate, the fact of the matter is link levels are the most heavily weighted metric when it comes to calculating these power levels. What do you think about that? Because it is worth thousands of times more than some of the other metrics like hidden potential nodes and whatnot.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think the power level, like if you wanted to give it like a rename, it's just how much do you grind the quest event, the quest mode, right? It doesn't really put much consideration. It's like you don't get bonus points for completing like an extreme super battle road or a red zone stage. It's just like, yeah, how much time do you want to spend in 8, 9, or 7, 10, whatever you prefer. Hidden potential nodes, obviously they do count for something. I know a lot of people, myself included, they just take some of those units that you filled out all the paths for, but you haven't invested the orbs. With the auto button to fill all of them, just go ahead, throw them to like 97% or 71% if they're SA1, and you just get the free power level so you can use up all your orbs in that way. I wish those were more points because I find myself doing that at this point more than I'm link leveling, but that's the system they decided to go with.
Tracking the battle power per day, we are looking at, once again, DeTruth dominating the board with 14,859. Coming up in second is Toon with 13,325. And then after that, there seems to be a pretty substantial drop off again. But what do you think about a 14,000 battle power level per day increase? That's a lot, because 1,000 power level occurs from simply one level 10 link hitting maximum. So if it's 14,000, that's implying that Truth is hitting 14 max link levels every single day. That's a lot.
Say what you want about the Truth. Say you don't like how he builds his units, you don't like his opinions. There's one thing you can't knock, and that's the man's work ethic. Nearly 15 level 10 links a day is, absolutely dominating the board across, except from the great Toon Rami, who's at 13,000. But after that, it's like we're seeing 6, 4, 2. Yeah, nobody's putting out the pace like those two, so it's definitely impressive to see that.
That Toon Rami guy sounds like he's got some real promise. I wish I could meet him sometime.
He's that guy who Goresh is always posting a higher chain battle score than. I think that's the guy, right?
Let's take a look at the variance. So the variance is basically a metric that shows how big of a change your power level was from the beginning till the end. And on this leaderboard, we have a new champion. It is no longer the truth. It is in fact Toon Rami with 16% variance, which means he had the most substantial improvement from start to finish in this data entry period.
Yes. Now this is where, you know, you can kind of, this speaks to how steady of an increase that people are at, right? Because if we look at this data, this is one of the few metrics where Nolar is at the bottom with a number of 1.5% variance, which just means that his rate has been more consistent over the days. But this Toon Rami guy, again, being talked about, he you could show that he had a more substantial pickup of, like, he must have not been link leveling very much, and then he hit just like a wall, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna start link leveling like crazy. And that's where we see that 16.3% come from.
Let's move on and take a look at the percentage of the battle power. So here we're basically just comparing Team JP with Team Global, and at the top, to no one's surprise, the truth once again dominating the charts with 35% of the collective battle power, but Nolar is holding on to a pretty sizable second portion with 30.5%. And then on the global side, it's a little bit more evenly distributed, with one extra player kind of occupying the top space, with Garesh, Toon, and Masningen leading the way.
One thing that surprised me is that our very own Rick Fox is actually on top of Sunblade in terms of the power level and the percent of the total BP. I was not expecting that. But the global side, I think it's definitely interesting to see how, you know, you guys have kind of like 3 big dogs compared to JP, where it's like 2 huge dogs, right? Like the drop off between 2 and 3 on JP is like just so drastic, right? It's 17% compared to like the drop off on global being like 9%. So it's definitely cool to see this and see how, you know, just how big the JP grinders really go. You know, like 35 and 30 is just absurd.
And over on the global side, we've got, when it comes to the lows, we do have some considerable low percentages here, with Gale Riot and Tystra sort of leading the charge from the back with 4.4% and 2.6%. They could be posed for a considerable boost maybe in the next few months. What do you think about that?
I think Tystra is going to see his numbers on here and think, you know, maybe he's spending too much time logging the data. Maybe he needs to increase his own data. And same thing with Gale Riot. I think both these guys, like you said, right, if they just start, like, they have like no rate right now because it's 2.6 and 4.4. If they start getting to really link leveling, we can see that variance shoot up way higher than maybe even what Toon Rami has at 16.3. Because you link leveled before, but now it's like, you know, you started going harder, like you said. So
let's take a look at the JP and global battle power composition. What we're looking at here is basically just a more visual distribution of how much workload is being put on each of the players. So obviously on the JP side, we are seeing 2 sizable chunks occupying this hole, and that is of course the truth with 35% and Nolar with 31%, with a bunch of other hitters now in the middle with 8, 6, and 7%. So it's pretty top heavy, but it's not to say that the other JP players are not putting in the work too.
Oh, 100%. You can see even Minato right there is in the double digits with his 13%. And then Sunblade, Rick Fox, and I, we combine for a respectable 21%. We'll just count us as 1. We are 1 at this point, right? The more casual side of link levelers, I'd say. But hey, Truth and Nolar, you got to add the respect for the work that they put in. Nolar will say allegedly puts the work in, but Truth, we know he's the grinder. He's got to beat the farm bot link levelers, so that's his goal, I guess. And that 35% is definitely good visual evidence that he does that.
Truth leading the pack. He is the MVP of Team JP. Moving on to the global side, as we looked at, it's pretty balanced. It's actually kind of hard to say who is really leading the charge here, because it's more of a team committee type effort on this side. We've got 27%, 26, 20. The drop off is much more gradual, and everyone's really putting in their work here.
Oh yeah, but we can also see those 2 little thin slivers. These are the most thin slivers we've got. Tystra and Gale Riot. We'll combine them. We'll go with that. And I think they combined for like, I forget what the number was. That like 7% combined or something like that. So yeah, we got 3 big hitters here on the global side, which is definitely different from the 2 big hitters over on the JP side. So, you know, the bigger player base, it's bound to look a little bit more like this. And global is, for the guys that spend money, I think it is a little bit more friendly with the tickets and more discounts and stuff like that. This isn't a video about that, but I think it's definitely, you'll have more stones if you just buy stones on global, I think.
On these final few charts here, the most improved award would have to probably go towards Toon Rami, whereas the least improved award, do we even want to mention who the least improved player is in this field here?
I think if you've been watching the video up to this point, I think you know who it is.
Congratulations, Tystra. But once again, the king of Dokkan, Truth, asserting his will on the field with the highest number for the battle power increase per day and overall battle power ranking. The final tally is Truth number 1, Nolar number 2, Goresh 3rd, Toonrami 4th, and Ningen charting out the top 5. And the rest is pretty much history for the month of April. What do you think about this overall distribution?
I think it is about what I would expect. If you told me we had to look at who is doing the most link leveling per day, I would definitely say like Truth is number 1, Nolar is number 2. But you know, it's definitely more of, I think it becomes more of a mix-up when we get to the global side. Like if you told me who's got the highest between Goresh, Toonrami, and Master Ningen, I would definitely be like, okay, that could be close. I might have thought that Ningen would be on the top because I know he's a busy link leveler, but this Toonrami guy really is making his presence known here. So it's cool to see that. Goresh might be getting dethroned very soon.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Goresh might be taking an L, and that might be a first, folks. So you heard it here. Thank you so much, Vilify, for joining me today on this installment of the Dokkan Battle Data Dome. And if you guys want to check out more content like this, make sure you guys are subscribed to 5-9 Gaming Mobile and all things 5-9 Gaming.
One thing on a personal note, I think I got to start link leveling a little bit more because I want to have my name up on some of these charts in terms of the most improved and all that fun stuff. But I don't think catching Truth is anything realistic here. It's going to take quite a miracle for that to happen. But yeah, I think this is really cool to see. I hope that this continues to go into the future.
I agree. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly. We'll see you next time.